got something to do before we get started with the formal program. Bart, as most of us are, is a huge OU Sooner fan. And his staff, unbeknownst to him, said, do you think it'd be possible to get Bob Stoops to come and say something to Bart and give him a football and all that kind of stuff? And I said, well, we'll try, we'll see. So Bart, would you come up? Coach, Bob Stoops.
Fantastic. Anyway, I know President Boren is going to give the official welcome, but I needed to get a game ball to you, Bart and Agio. It says, welcome to Norman. New Sooners, go Sooners.
That's fantastic.
All right, there you go.
Thank
Put
you
that
very
on
much.
your desk.
Yes, sir. That's great.
Picture?
Yeah.
All right.
That's great. Thank you very much for coming.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Going to work. Got practice today, sucker.
We're doing spring practice, and I think we all know how important that is, so we'll let him go. So we appreciate him doing that very much. We're here today for a very special event. I appreciate all of you coming today to share that with us. This is probably the best crowd we've ever had for an event. President Boren, you have an effect on events like this, so thank you for coming. So without further ado, I want to get started. It's my pleasure to introduce to you David L. Boren, the longest-serving president in the Big 12, who last November began his 16th year as president of the University of Oklahoma. President Boren's energy and enthusiasm for growth and improvement continues an example to all of us to follow. A visionary, he consistently advocates for the needs of our university, our city, and our state. Under his leadership, OU has become a primary engine for economic growth, not only in Norman, but for the entire state of Oklahoma. We're sitting on the OU Research Campus, and for many of you that have been around Norman, I've been here 12 years, if you remember back, there was the old naval swimming pool, was about over there where the weather center is, and there were just piles of debris, and now we've seen this campus spring up. President Boren's vision to create this research campus and the public-private partnerships it will encourage will give Agio a unique environment in which to succeed and improve our economy. Please help me in welcoming President David L. Boren.
Thank you, Don. Thank you very much. Mayor, all of you, it's a great day for us. And, you know, I had this last week a chance to speak at our Student Awards ceremony, and I said, among other things, that I wanted to thank the students for giving me the gift of optimism. We know we're living through a critical time in our country in which we face so many challenges. And unfortunately, when you look at some of the national polling data, many Americans are not very optimistic about the future of our country, not as optimistic as they could be. And if they could just be a part of the Norman community, and a part of the OU community, and a part of the partnership that is formed between this community and this university, we would not have any negative ratings about optimism about the future of this country because of the talent that's pulled together, the kind of cooperation that occurs here, which I wish we could see at the national level. Sometimes I want to tell them at the national level, no, it's not Republicans and Democrats that are the enemy, it's Al-Qaeda and a few other people in the world, and we need to unite together and work together, and that's exactly what happens here. So it's been a wonderful week and a wonderful example of why we should be optimistic about the future of this community together. With this announcement and with other things that have happened this week. As I said, it's been a great week for us at the university, and this makes it an even greater week as we have this announcement for new opportunities for people in our community and for those that will be graduating from the university, many of whom will not be leaving us, but will simply walk across the street virtually almost, maybe just down a little bit from the stadium from graduation and go to work now with Agio, and as they've been going to work with Riskmetrics and other companies that have been spun off as a result of this partnership that I've talked about. But it's been a great week. Bart, in this last week, we started off the week by announcing that the University Art Museum had received the largest collection of Native American art in private hands in the United States, a collection valued somewhere between $25 and $50 million 2,600 paintings, 1,000 kachinas, and a lot of other things that will be coming to our Museum of Art, which, by the way, since your student days has grown in value. I was just calculating back to your student days from about a $60 million collection, if we are crass enough to put financial values on works of art, to now over $1 billion art collection, and one of the 3 largest at a university in the country. So that was a wonderful way to start the week. And then we learned that a little bit later in the week that our debate team, and I don't know if this is yet public, but our debate team has now won the National Debating Championship this year. 3 times out of the last 4 years that our debate team has won the National Debating Championship. We learned yesterday that we had 2 candidates who were finalists for the Truman Foundation Truman Scholarships, and the head of the Truman Foundation called me and said, this is really a unique situation, but I have to tell you that both of your finalists have been selected as Truman Scholars, and that will be announced in the next couple of days as well. And of course, as you know, and this is going to really test you, since you spent part of your student days at the University of Oklahoma and some at the University of Connecticut. As you know, our women's basketball team is now in the Elite 8, and if we have the hoped for result tonight, they will be facing you-know-who in the Final Four. So that happened. Our Governor's Cup competition team in the economic area, which swept all the competition last year, being part of the Price College program, which, as you know, as you did your due diligence, is our entrepreneurship program is now ranked among the top 10 universities in the nation, and that team is advancing forward. And then, of course, today, to have you here and to have the announcement that's being made today, I mean, what a week. And if you can't be optimistic about the future of this community and the future of the university and the partnership that goes together, I don't know what would make you optimistic. And for Bart and me, this is a little bit of a reunion, certainly one that's an unexpected reunion. We met 16 years ago. He was very young then. I was at least happily middle-aged then and not the longest-serving president in the Big 12. But he was just out of high school, or still actually in high school in Edmond. And he was selected. I was proud to nominate him to be one of the 2 representatives of the state of Oklahoma in the U.S. Senate Youth Program. And so he came to Washington as a very, very bright high school student in the U.S. Senate Youth Program to be a part of that youth program. And I knew then he was very talented. I knew from our conversation, but little did I know that I would be welcoming him back home to OU and to Norman, because he spent 2 years of his college work here as well, as the CEO of a new company that is already moving so fast that even before the announcement, he has 26 people working next door in Partnership 3, and on his way to a full contingent of 40 in this first year, and on his way to future growth. And I told him as we were visiting this morning that we're looking forward to that future growth because we already received permission from the Board of Regents this last week. It was kind of one of the unnoticed items on the agenda, but the Board of Regents last week gave us permission and set in motion the construction of Partners Place 4 on this research campus. Because now, with Agio moving into the very last available space in Partnership 3, this research campus, and Kelvin looks very happy today, this research campus is absolutely full. So we have to begin to move. I spoke also with the new CEO of the acquiring company of Riskmetrics. They plan for further expansion here in Norman. So by the time Partnership 4 is built, we know that we're going to have a great demand for it already. And you know, you go back in time, and I was reminded as and many of you, the same faces in the audience that were here 7 or 8 years ago, as we were breaking ground on the first buildings, on the Weather Center, and then this building, the very first 2 buildings. And all we were staring out at that time was an absolutely open field, all the way up to the now torn down World War II building and barracks that was once our transportation center and our shop before new facilities were built.